Hey guys, YouTube Nerd here, and I hope everybody did have a very happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, and and now as I am continuing looking at these War Games matches, now for the next one, now I'm going to be talking about the War Games match from Fall Brawl 1997. Yeah, so this War Games match, like the one at Fall Brawl 1996, this was another one between the WCW and the NWO. Yeah, but this time around, like for this match, the WCW team consisted of the Four Horsemen. Yeah, yeah. So this really was like uh, uh NWO versus Four Horsemen War Games. Yeah, yeah. And for this War Games match, the teams for this match were on the NWO. There was Kevin Nash, uh, Buff Bagwell, um, Six, aka X Pac, and Conan. Yeah. And the Four Horsemen team consisted of Ric Flair, Chris Benoit, Steve McMichael, and Kurt Hennig, aka Mr. Perfect. Yeah. So, how did this match turn out? Well, this was better than the last War Games match I talked about, the War Games 1995 match. This match was better than that one. But at the same time, this really wasn't the classic that a lot of the older War Games matches were. This one just really kind of seems like, I mean, I guess overall it was a solid match, but still really not really among the best War Games matches of all time. You know what I mean? Yeah, and though it does I think it is kind of easy to see some of the issues that this match did have, because I mean, just for this match, just look at the teams for this match, this these teams just seem just total B team versions of the groups. Seriously, on the NWO team, really the only big name on the team was Kevin Nash, and on the Four Horsemen team, the only big name was Ric Flair. Seriously, what kind of teams were these for a War Games match? I mean, you seriously have a Buff Bagwell Six and Conan representing the NWO in a War Games match, and then and for the Four Horsemen, this wasn't even the original Four Horsemen in group or anything like that. This was just the B version with Chris Benoit and Steve McMichael. It wasn't Arn Anderson or anyone else that is known for being on the Four Horsemen. So these really just seem very watered down teams for a War Games match. Seriously, these are just like they're just a bunch of B players, and just not even big names for the two teams. Seriously, on the NWO team, you couldn't have had you couldn't have had Hulk Hogan on the team for this match. Hulk Hogan wasn't even on the show. Why couldn't they have had him be part of the NWO team for this match? Yeah, and they also didn't have Scott Hall on the NWO team for this match either. So just, I mean, why are you having this kind of team represent the NWO in a War Games match? Yeah, and this version of the Four Horsemen, this really just wasn't really that good of a version of the Four Horsemen. Arn Anderson had just recently retired, so yeah, I guess that kind of really did really cause the Four Horsemen to really suffer, because this sort of a team for the Four Horsemen, this really was not really good, and this was a pretty weak version of the Four Horsemen to have in a War Games match. The teams really are just so weak for this match, and this really just turned out not really being a classic. I mean, like I said, this was overall a solid match, but still pretty underwhelming for a War Games match. So this really just was really not really that exciting for a War Games match, and these teams really were just like very very weak, especially when you compare them to the teams the previous year at Fall Brawl 1996. I mean, for the NWO, you had like Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash on the team as well as the fake Sting, yeah. And on the WCW team, you had Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and Lex Luger. So yeah, so and even like the real Sting was also like technically on the team as well. So yeah, so the teams for the previous year's War Games match for WCW and NWO were like really great, but then the following year they give us these teams like just like this really did kind of like seem like to be sort of like an example of like how weak the WCW roster really seemed to be at the time because you have like guys like this in the NWO and this is who you're having represent the team in War Games. So yeah, so I just really don't know what they were thinking, but yeah, these really were just like pretty weak teams having War Games, and yeah, and the match really just like really wasn't really anything classic about it. Like I said, it was solid action, but there's not really anything like very memorable about it until like what we get at the very end of the match. Yeah, but yeah, this match overall it is pretty forgettable. Yeah, there's really like nothing memorable about the match, and plus, yeah, there there wasn't even really like that much use of the cage in this match. Really, like I said, there wasn't really much use of the cage until like the very end. So yeah, so it really just seemed like they really were waiting till the very end of the match to really give this like something memorable about it. But yeah, the there really wasn't anything that memorable about the match at all. So yeah, so I just really don't know what else to really say about this one. So yeah, so I guess I would probably give this War Games match probably around like 3 stars out of 5. Yeah. But yeah, just with how like so weak these teams are and just like how nothing memorable really happened, yeah, I really don't really think this one really would really be worth watching. So yeah, I really think that this is probably one that you can really skip if you haven't seen it before. So yeah. So there's really not much to really talk about this match. Like it started off with Chris Benoit and Buff Bagwell in there, yeah, and they fought it out for like 5 minutes, but not really anything memorable happened. I mean, it was solid in ring action between the two of them, but yeah, not really anything memorable happened. And then I guess I should also mention that like at first like when this match started, it didn't seem like Kurt Hennig was actually going to compete in the match because earlier on in the show he was beaten down by the NWO and supposedly hurt, so it looked like he wouldn't have been able to compete. So yeah, so Kurt Hennig wasn't even like with the Four Horsemen at first. Like he didn't actually like come out with them when they first came out, and he wasn't like there when the match first started. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, yeah. Then the NWO ended up winning the coin toss. So yeah, the next one to enter the match was Conan. Yeah, and yeah, and pretty much like it was like how Buff Bagwell and Conan were like double teaming Chris Benoit, and Chris Benoit like was fighting them back, and then yeah, then Steve McMichael was the next one to enter, and then yeah, then they like even things up, and Benoit and McMichael like were fighting off Buff Bagwell and Conan, yeah. Then the next one to enter for the NWO was Six, yeah, and he then came in, and then he was like going at it with Chris Benoit for a point, yeah. And yeah, this was also kind of like during like the last few months of his run in WCW, like like this was like in the fall of 1997, yeah, and I think he would be gone before like the end of 1997, and he then of course like uh returned to the WWF the night after WrestleMania 14. Yeah, he was like here, but and yeah, he like was fighting with Chris Benoit. Yeah, then eventually, then it showed Kurt Hennig then and it coming down to the ring with his arm in a sling. Yeah, yeah. Then Ric Flair then was the next one to enter the match for the Four Horsemen. Yeah, Yeah, then like evened it up like a 3-on-3, and which is helping up Benoit and McMichael take on the NWO. Yeah, yeah. Then Kevin Nash then was the final one to come in for the NWO. Yeah, and then then like Kurt Hennig then entered for the Four Horsemen, and then once he entered the match, he then showed that like there was nothing wrong with his arm, but then get the swerve where it showed that like he like was he was in cahoots with the NWO all along, and so then he turned on the Four Horsemen and attacked Benoit and McMichael, and then like he had like two sets of cuffs, and then the NWO cuffed Benoit and McMichael to the cage. Yeah, then they were just um, beating down Ric Flair, and then we're just telling Benoit and McMichael to surrender, or Ric Flair would be beaten down. But yeah, they refused to do it. So then the NWO then just like continued to beat down Ric Flair. They like I think Kevin Nash gave Ric Flair like a jackknife power bomb. Yeah, then like they just kept attacking Ric Flair, and then just kept asking Benoit and McMichael if they wanted to surrender, but they still refused. And then they finally then got Ric Flair in the position to just put, like slam his head into the door of the cage, and then that's finally when Steve McMichael then called for the match. So then the NWO was then victorious, but then they ended up just slamming the door on Ric Flair's head anyway. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like this really did kind of make the Four Horsemen kind of look pretty bad here, especially with this match being in North Carolina. They made them look like pretty bad here, at least like in the match the year before. It didn't really make them look that bad, and in the losing part against the NWO, yeah. But here it really just did make them look pretty bad, especially like being in North Carolina, like I said. So I don't know. I mean, this really like the right right way to go down for the ending of the match. I mean, in in yeah, I just really don't know what else to say about it. But yeah, this really did kind of make the Four Horsemen look pretty bad. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, it was what it was, and yeah, the NWO was victorious in War Games for the second year in a row. Yeah, so yeah. So as you can probably tell by like the way I talked about this match, like there really wasn't really anything that memorable happened in this match until like the end when Kurt Hennig like made the swerve and joined up with the NWO and took out the Four Horsemen. Yeah, but yeah, for the rest of the match, like there really wasn't anything that memorable at all. I mean, it was solid in ring action for pretty much like the entire match, but yeah, not really anything too memorable. And plus, yeah, it wasn't even really that brutal. Like there really wasn't any blood in this match, and like I said, there really wasn't much use of the cage and stuff. So this really did seem like kind of like very tame and calm War Games match compared to like the stuff that we had seen before in War Games. So yeah. So like I said, it's not terrible. Like I do think it overall it is a solid match, but by War Game standards, it is pretty underwhelming and pretty disappointing to be honest. So yeah. So like I said, I guess I would probably give this match like a 3 stars out of 5. Yeah. So like I said, I mean, I don't really think that this really is really worth watching. Like if you haven't seen it before, I do think that this is like one that you can just skip over and not really watch it because there really isn't really much to really offer about this match at all. Like it really is just kind of there here. So I guess that's the best way I can put it. All right, so yeah, so guess that's all I have to say. So this is my review of the Fall Brawl 1997 War Games match. I hope you guys did enjoy this review. I know this was kind of like a more simplistic review, but there really just wasn't really that much to really talk about with this one. Yeah, but up next now, like for the next one that I'm gonna be talking about, that is something that I will have a lot to say about, and I think you do know which one I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's going to be coming up next. So yeah, stay tuned for the next War Games match review, where I will have a lot more to say about it than I did about this one. All right, but yeah, but I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.